Well, it's nearly 70 days of strike and no end in sight. This afternoon, the tensions are rising amid the difficult negotiations for an end to the strike as Ghana Tertiary Education Commission (GTEC) announces decision to recruit 2,500 new teachers for the colleges of education. It comes as the government is currently struggling to pay up demands of some 2,000 teachers who are on strike. We'll interrogate this shortly, but first take a look at that statement from GTEC. The statement from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission is indicating government's willingness to employ some 2,500 teachers. It says the attention of GTEC has been drawn to numerous requests on the need for the closure of the 46 colleges of education in lieu of the impending strike by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG. Now, the commission, as of today, 16th August 2024, has not reached such a conclusion. Neither has it been directed by the Honorable Minister of Education to do the same. As a result, all of the 46 colleges of education should stay open until further notice. Again, as you are aware, the commission has migrated 20 institutions as of today and hopes to complete all 46 before the end of the month. In addition, the top-up of the research allowance has been paid to 44 colleges of education, except McCoy and Dambai, who have some technical issues to be resolved. Additionally, the all-year-round payment, which is also an issue of contention, has been initiated on Ghana, integrate financial management. So that is what it says. And then to enable the Ministry of Finance to issue the release letter and specifically warrant for payment to be effected as soon as possible. Now, it says regarding payment of salaries for August, the Commission will communicate directives on the subject once same has been received from the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. In the meantime, the Commission is in serious talks with the Honorable Minister of Education for financial clearance to be granted to GTEC to recruit some 2,500 teaching staff to augment the current load for academic work to commence as quickly as possible while we work with CETAG to resolve their concerns. GTEC will communicate to you the modalities with which this urgent staff recruitment will be expedited as soon as the clearance is provided. I am counting on your usual cooperation, Professor Ahmed Jinapo Abdullahi, Acting Director General of GTEC. So that is the letter there that has been, released today by GTEC. This week, my colleague Kenneth Jesse was at the Accra College of Education to speak with students on how the prolonged strike is affecting them. Here is his report.
After more than 60 days since CETAG members embarked on a strike to demand better working conditions, students at the colleges of education across the country want the schools to shut down completely. Here at the Accra College of Education, students in levels 100, 200, and 300 says it is about time the schools shut down because they have wasted productive days on campus with no teaching or learning.
Well, we are around because we hope that the lecturers will come back, but then if at this point they haven't returned, then I think we would want to go. Well, our parents mostly believe that when we're on campus, we study, so they actually put in efforts to help us sustain ourselves on campus.
Well, we've been on campus for a couple of months now, and then there are no lectures going on. It's quite unbearable. Though we do personal studies, but it is better with the lecturer taking you through what exactly he wants you to attain for the semester than you doing your personal studies, and then by the end you wouldn't have attained what you are supposed to. So it is better the lecturers are around than we are on campus, but if they are not coming, then I think it's better we go home. It is personal studies that we are doing actually as of now, because we can't, at first we were assuming in a few weeks they will be coming, so we had put in so much effort that when they come we take up from where we have ended personally. But now it seems they are not coming. So even going for personal studies is becoming quite difficult because you have no hope of they coming at the moment.
Whatever the teacher says, it gets to my head and sticks. But because there's strike, there's nothing like that. Our provisions are getting finished. Sometimes dining is not even enough for us. You have to go get food and other stuffs. So it's best if they shut down the school so everyone can go home.
But not all the students want it to be shut down.
Personally, I don't like the idea because I'm 1100 and then the academic calendar was slated to have ended in September 7th, of which we prepared for that. So now going home and coming back means the plans we've had earlier, we have to reconsider it. So personally, I don't want the school to shut down. We want our teachers back.
From the Accra College of Education, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Well, joining us for a conversation on this now is Professor Francis Nunu, Deputy Director of GTEC. Razak Swale is the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana President. Also, Professor Samuel Atintono is Prinkov National President. Larry K. Agbado is Editor, Teacher Education Journal, and Dr. Dominic Owusu, who's spokesperson for CETAG. Well, so let me start with Swale. Swale, you have been calling for the closure of schools for some time now. Today, you're hearing from GTEC for the first time that that request will not be granted. How do you take that?
Yes, to us as students, we are the people feeling the effects of this strike ever since its beginning. I don't think GTEC feels the impact much because they are only considering us getting our teachers back to the classroom. But the longer our teachers take to get to the classroom,
Swale, do I have you?
There are the consequences. Over 400 students have been renting, and then they've been spending on the little resources that they have. Parents have actually been investing in us for us to be able to complete our academic studies. But when we approach, we have barely left with 3 weeks, not even up to 2 weeks complete for the colleges to officially vacate, which is on September 7th. But if you are still insisting that we stay and then finish the little resource that we have on campuses, there comes an extension. Who now causes the extension? Because it's not the student fault that our teachers are on strike, and it's not our fault also that their demands are taking long to be implemented. So it's high time. With what GTEC is saying, they are saying the colleges shouldn't be closed down. But even if the colleges won't be closed down, let us as students leave the campuses, go and then prepare both psychologically and financially, so that if there is even an extension, or if the colleges are, we are asked to go home and then we are back to resume the semester, we might be having something little to manage for us to be able to complete the semester. So, the call for closure comes at the back of these reasons. But if in any case is not granted, we would just meet with our team members and advise ourselves.
Well, I mean, the GTEC lists several things that government is doing. It says that the commissioner of so it talks of the top-up of the research allowances that have been paid to some 44 colleges of education, except Macquarie and Dambai. It says additionally, all year-round payment, which is also an issue of contention, has been initiated on the gift mix to enable the Ministry of Finance to issue release letters and specific warrant for payment to be effected as soon as possible. It says regarding salaries of August, the commission, so that's but the GTEC is trying to say that they are doing something. So why aren't you also calling on your teachers to look at the government meeting them halfway, for them to also meet government halfway?
Well, where we have reached, we were feeling that the government, through GTEC and then other stakeholders, were really involved and then were really demanding for solutions or getting the demands of our teachers resolved. But we are Now, reconsidering that, because this letter that is before you also indicates that GTEC is currently seeking financial clearance from the Minister of Education for him to recruit about 2,500 teachers.
Yes.
So, if there is funds to be able to cater for these 2,500, then why not use it to help our teachers so that we have our teachers back to the classroom? Because even in July, when our teachers were still on strike, the same GTEC directed that salaries to our teachers should not be paid. And it really didn't help the situation. That aggravated for CETAG to further take all their 100% profit from the country.
Okay, so I get your question there. Let me put it to Professor Francis Nunu, who is Deputy Director at GTEC, to try and get some answers. Prof, if the government has money to employ some 2,500 new teachers, why wouldn't you use the same money to cater for the needs of 2,000 teachers who are already in the system, for them to come back to the classroom to teach?
Their needs are being catered for. Those in existence, their needs are being catered for. One, the top-up allowance, as stated in the letter, has been handled. It's been paid to the colleges, so it's being paid to their accounts as we speak. The next one is the
all year round payment.
All year round payment. It has been paid in the gift made system. Now to go to the colleges and they have the money. So we are not saying that there is no money. They are being paid. The money is going. So it's not a situation of there's no money to pay. We are paying the money. So what is left is the migration. 20 colleges have been migrated, about 26 more. And this will be done within 2 weeks. That will also be done. Those who have been migrated will also be paid. And to help with the teaching and to improve quality of teaching, we are employing more teachers to help. So government is committed to solving the issues. We are doing a holistic type of treatment, addressing all the needs.
What are the details of the arbitrary award that GTEC is fighting for? CETAG is contending government on.
There are three main issues, and those are the three issues addressed in the letter. One is the all-year-round payment. The other one is the book and research allowance. And then the other one is for them to be migrated to be at par with the university. And yesterday we had an engagement with them, and we showed them the extent to which the migration has been done. There are 46 colleges, and as we speak today, we've migrated 20 of them, almost half. And within a week or so, we will work on their payment. Letters will go so that they also be paid to the level where we have migrated them to. So government is doing all its best to address these three things that they were awarded by NLC.
Okay, so these are the three things.
So them to get back to work.
So these are the three things in the arbitrary award.
The three things they asked for, and we are working. Government is addressing all of them.
I'm standing on something. I mean, so let us understand that these are the three main things in the arbitrary award that they have.
Yes.
Okay. Now, isn't GTEC worried that the schools are virtually running just on one leg, because it's just the students who are there? Aren't you worried that students are spending a lot and they are not getting anybody to teach them? Why won't you close down the schools? This is close to 70 days.
Yes, as the letter states, it's not in GTEC's power to close down the schools. This one is a ministerial. We need a ministerial directive or directive from the presidency or somewhere. So GTEC is not within our power to close down the schools.
But you are like the regulators of the school. Why would you
we
recommend?
can only recommend to the minister.
Have you recommended to the minister to consider?
We are yet to engage him. So we are working on it.
But when it's one of the major things the students are calling for because they are spending a lot, why hasn't GTEC made this call a long time ago to the minister that looking at what is happening, this should happen?
That's why we stated in our letter that we are going to engage with the minister on the way forward. When we have express directive, we will take the action.
But so should it be the understanding that the minister is not aware of what's happening, that unless GTEC recommends, then this action can be taken?
He is aware. He's aware of the daily, and he's very concerned. He's very, and he's been engaging the various stakeholders, hoping that they will return to work. That's what he's been doing. He's been engaging them on the side, hoping that they will listen and get to work. So he encourages us to keep on engaging and pleading with them. And we did that yesterday. And even today, we have been talking to some of the stakeholders.
And they are not returning to the classroom. So what is the next line of action that you will? You are pleading. You've been pleading for some time. They are not listening. And you say you started implementing. Yesterday, one of the GTEC PRs said they are not aware. And whatever you are implementing is the minor things you're doing. The real things are not being addressed.
I just told you that there were 3 reliefs sought by them. 2 of them, one is already done. The money is within the college. The second is almost like 80-90% done.
Okay.
It's already approved in the gift system and will go to the colleges in the next day or 2. So 2 main ones are almost done. The third one is the migration. That one is almost 50% complete. So we have literally almost done that. So we've done our part. They should do their part.
Okay.
And within a short time, we say maximum of 2 weeks, all these issues will be sorted out.
Okay. Now,
so we brought them together yesterday and showed them all that we've done.
Okay.
And we continue to plead with them.
Dr. Dominic Owusu, who said you were not implementing the real things, is with me. Let me bring into this conversation. Doc, so here you hear GTEC who tells you that they are in fact, okay, so let's try and let me bring in Professor Samuel Atintono, who is Supreme Court National President. So, Prof, you can confirm that all of these that CETAG says they are doing indeed have been done. Prof, can you hear me so we can hear what you're telling us? Prof, can you unmute so we can hear what you're telling us? Professor Samuel Atintono is Supreme Court National President, and he is with us on this conversation. We would try and get to understand, because now we are being told that, CETAG or government has started implementing the 3 things that the CETAG members were asking for. So, Larry, let me bring you, because you've also been following what is happening on the colleges. Can you confirm that, in fact, whatever CETAG says they are doing, indeed, are being done?
All right, thank you very much, Samuel. So it's rather GTEC and not CETAG. So if you interact with the CETAG members, they are still not okay with some of these things that GTEC is saying that is being done. I think what is even worsening the situation now is the letter that just came out today. And respectfully, I must put that the concluding part of that letter, which has to do with writing to the Minister for Education to seek financial clearance, is in bad taste. It's actually coming at a time that it shouldn't be the case. Because, you see, we've traveled a very long way with this strike. A strike that has lasted for about 70 days, 70 good days. And at this point, as stakeholders, we should be trying to find solutions to this strike. We should be trying to calm tempers. But to write that you are seeking financial clearance to recruit 2,500 tutors, just ask the GTEC rep. If we have set monies to recruit 2,500 tutors, why don't we use those same monies to address the situation we are currently faced with? So the situation is completely out of hand. You talk to some principals, and they are in a very tight corner. They are struggling. There are principals who can't even travel to Accra for meetings again because their college cafes is completely empty. They've been feeding students for over 60 days, and there's absolutely nothing happening. The students are not also paying fees because they feel that there's nothing happening. So the colleges are really going down. And at this moment, it's quite unfortunate that we had to sit to allow this to get to this level. That a strike will last.
But GTEC is explaining that, I mean, they are implementing whatever request that CETAG has. So it is not an issue of whether they have finance or they don't have. They feel that they have to employ more people to complement what's happening. Isn't that a good reason to get the academics going?
You see, this was the same issue that came up in our last conversation, where I raised an issue that CETAG feels that they don't trust the process that is ongoing. And we should reach that point where all these groups can sit together on the same table and have some trust in the system. Exactly a year ago from today, CETAG embarked on a 4-month strike. And a year on, we are here. Now it's even 2 months. Is it a case that we didn't learn from the past experiences?
Okay.
That we couldn't correct these issues till we are here today? That a whole semester has gone wasted?
All right.
So this issue of mistrust has to be resolved in a way.
Okay, Larry, I'm grateful to you for your thought here. Swale, so when will the student, react to the statement from GTEC?
Yes, we are currently, we just received it, and then we would sit together as a team, and then we would formally give a response to it, because our students are suffering from all our 46 various campuses, and it's not a matter we are taking lightly.
Okay, all right, grateful to you. Razak Swale is the president of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Earlier, you had Professor Francis Nunu, who's deputy director of the GTEC, and also Larry Kiagbada, who's editor, Teacher Education Journal. This is still the Pulse on the Joy News channel. Let's do the election headquarters now. Now, as Ghana approaches its general elections in just 4 months, concerns are growing about the security of our electoral system against potential external interference. Recent instances of electoral results being influenced by outside forces in sub-Saharan Africa have raised alarm bells. In Ghana, memories of the 2016 elections come to mind when the then Electoral Commission chairperson Charlotte Osei revealed that they had to halt the use of their electronic system for collating results due to suspicions of tampering and compromise. We can now listen to what Charlotte Osei said before announcing the 2016 election results.
Prior to the elections, we had announced that we're going to use 2 methods of results transmission: the manual process and the electronic results transmission. One of the main benefits of the electronic results transmission is that it would have enabled us to see the results of all the 29,000 polling stations as recommended by the reform committee we set up after the 2012 elections before we declared the final results. Unfortunately, we've had challenges with our electronic results transmission system. We had reason to believe that the system had been compromised, and so we advised our returning officers at the collation centers to stop using it and revert solely to the manual process. So as we speak, we're still waiting results through the manual process to come in, and we're making efforts to make sure that we see the polling station results before the final declaration. The history of our presidential elections in the Fourth Republic in Ghana have been very close, and because of that closeness, we have a duty to ensure that we take our time, we collate the results properly, we ensure that the process of collation remains as inclusive and as transparent as the process of the elections.
So this raises questions about the current state of our electoral system's robustness and ability to prevent similar interference. Joining me now in the studio for this discussion are Desmond Israel, who is technology lawyer and data privacy security practitioner, also Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer, deputy director of elections and IT of the NDC. Well, the name is computer, interesting one there. Well, let me start with you, Desmond, and grateful for coming.
Thank you.
Now, if you look at the discussions we have, what are the potential risks, to data privacy in Ghana's electoral system, and how can that be mitigated?
Well, for the purposes of election interference, there are information operations, and then there are the cyber operations. So the potential of using some of these data for communicating misinformation, disinformation, trying to use new age technology to build profiles that do not exist, put some communication in the mouth of people that they did not say. And then from the cyber operations point of view, it's potential breaches. And this is no conjecture. I mean, out there, in the case of countries that are pitched against Russia, you have about 5 of them on the record showing that they've had some sort of interference, different levels of election interference, which also has to do with information that they carry, the kind of communication that they give to build public trust, the likes of Netherlands, the UK, you could even mention Sweden, and even France. In Macron's during his elections, he had Russian attackers engaging his units. So just to sum it up, everything about data, its infrastructure that it carries, and elections all has the potential of interference one way or the other. It is what you put together to build that trust around the process. Because one thing you should also know is the use of mis and disinformation is purely to create distrust in the system.
Okay.
So I don't even need to interfere with the electoral system as in the technology itself. I can come in like the Cambridge Analytica approach and skew public opinion. And that has been categorized in the records as being, election interference.
Okay.
So for data privacy specifically, it is what we hold. There's biometrics there. There is the personal information about people. The structures we put in place to ensure these things are protected is important. Beyond tampering with maybe, votes or dealing with the election in such a manner that people would feel that one person should have won but did not, data can also be used by private actors for a whole lot of things. It could include attempts at fraud. It could include phishing, where people try to use these data to get access to more relevant data for more adverse impact. Yeah.
But I mean, you mentioned places, and we all know the America election also came up strongly.
Yeah.
But they said no, there wasn't any. I mean, is it, as you mentioned, disinformation that people will say, oh, there was a Russian interference, where you could defend to say there wasn't, like the Americans did.
Right. So, okay. So usually when it comes to all these cyber operations, we match it to what we call attribution. For the sake of your listeners, attribution is simply saying that I'll put all the pieces together to identify if this happened because Desmond did it or Kojo Brace did it. That's just what attribution is.
Okay.
So the world over, for you to be able to assess that maybe a state actor or a private actor within a state took this action, you do attribution. Okay. And most of these attributions have been done. Like, in some of the attacks, they could identify from the metadata, as in the data that identifies the data. Yeah. They could identify some of the attackers and the signatures. Some popular Russian names that we know in the space can be found in some of these things. Addresses that were used in engaging some of these attacks, some of them maps to Russia. So maybe we can say that, well, the Russian government can say, this has nothing to do with us. But there are Russian actors.
Okay.
That attribution maps to,
Okay.
And one big actor that I think I can put on the record is APT28. These actors are actually from U.S. intelligence. People will say, oh, that is subjective. Well, but from U.S. intelligence, which they've justified, APT28 has something to do with Russian intelligence.
Okay.
So it's easy from the geopolitical point of view for somebody to say that, no, if APT28 is here, Russia is here.
Okay, all right. So if that's it, then you can say that a country like Ghana, we are just small in the cyberspace. But how can EC ensure that the privacy or the data that they have are protected from this intrusion by foreign sources?
They're not going to do anything different from what the world has done. France came together. In Sweden, political parties came together. There was a joint conversation as to what do we want to do to ensure that there is trust around the electoral process. It's not really about EC and us against them. That's not how I see it, at least not professionally, because from the US to the UK to Germany and all these examples that I'm giving you with the records can bear me out, there was consistent engagement as to what things to put in place because it would differ from place to place. The Electoral Commission knows, deep in their hearts, they know what their technical problems are. I don't work within the Electoral Commission, but if you're speaking about general cyber engagement, there are so many things that an attacker can do, and it doesn't matter how well it is built. The Googles get hacked, the Facebook get hacked. So you're not an exception to the rule, right? In Netherlands, they took an extreme position by saying that, listen, this election is not going to be done online. So there was no electronic voting in 2017 in Netherlands because they knew that there was, from all indication, there was going to be a Russian interference in the process. Right? So, and that's how they took their decision. So they took the election offline, which was a very smart thing. They still got their election done anyway. So I think that we just have to approach it from a more pragmatic.
But what necessitates the interference? Whoa,
there are a number of things. So first of all, I would even move away from Russia. I used it because that's the conversation out there. But if you look at a state interest. So let's say country X has interest in Ghana or in Africa and realizes that the change of, say, a president or the change of a government might affect that interest on the ground, say mineral resources or any of that. They would do what it takes. And these setups are there. These institutions that do these jobs are there. They are not now going to manufacture them. The tools are there. The skill is there. The motivation is there. They can stage it and then get what they want out of it. So it is when you have an interest subsisting that you see some of these interferences coming. And then there's the mercenary part where people actually engage. You know, for instance, there's an opposition that is pro-Russian aligned. So you see them having that assistance. Or there is an incumbent that is maybe pro-Iranian aligned. So you see them having that assistance. So that's basically where the motivation comes from.
Okay, but if I understand, if you say that they can't do anything that people haven't done before, it means that then we're just say we are at their mercy. They should do whatever, or there's something specific we could do.
We are just saying that we should do, you know, the necessary basic things that needs to be done. Now, I didn't want to throw in, you know, what you call measures that are blank checks.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that every election is unique.
Okay.
Yesterday's issues about electoral transfer, which was interrupted because of maybe denial of service attack, it will not be the same as today. But there is the potential that if you're going to do transfer of votes and it's going to go via the internet, then you should put some redundancy in place.
Okay.
Because if it's coming over a single wire, you know, and I'm using wire here, you know, context. If it's coming over a single wire and that wire can be cut off, maybe we should have 2, we should have 3. But it is the parties and the Electoral Commission and the political actors that know that we need to protect our democracy, and these are the gaps around our democracy from a cyber perspective.
Okay.
And then, of course, agencies like the Cybersecurity Authority might also come in with the relevant policies around electoral.
I will let us look at whether there are legal frameworks, but let me bring in Dr. Rashid here. Doc, so you listened to him espouse what the threats are. What specific, you know, issues does the NDC have with the robustness of Ghana's electoral system, and how do you think that can be addressed?
Very well. You see, if you look at our electoral system in the country, it's a manual electoral system. We don't do electronic voting in Ghana. We don't do electronic transmission, e-voting. We don't do it. Okay. If you look at the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they were very careful in putting up the clauses for our electoral system, knowing the electricity rates of the country at that time, and then knowing the structure, our cultural setup and all that. If we bring in electronic system like e-voting, your guess is as good as mine. We can't just manage it. So our electoral system is pen and paper electoral system. That is, everything we do is manual. That is, we give you a paper, you go and put your thumbprint on it, and then we count. And the counting is done in front of everybody. And when we finish the counting, we write the results on the paper we normally call the pink sheet. And that is the result. We are finished like that. So it's a simple electoral system. So our problem in our electoral system is rather the personnel who does the counting. It is not about the voting.
But you remember in 2016, we played...
Yes, that's what they...
Charlotte was worried about some interference.
I was trying to get there.
Okay.
You know, when we started the biometric system in 2012, that was the first time we introduced some level of electronics into our elections. That is by going the biometric, just to take away this issue of people coming to identify each other by face and then saying that I don't know you, are not from here. And you remember those kind of heckling and all that. People could be in a queue and they'll come and walk them away and say, we don't know you, are not from this area. So in order to forestall all this thing, we brought in this biometric system so that we take away that physical contact with people and all that. The biometrics will do the identification for us. That is the highest level we went. Then in 2016, they tried to bring in an idea of saying that, okay, you know, our electoral system, the summary sheets from the Constituency Collation Center were supposed to be faxed at that point to the strong room, which you call the strong room. Now, instead of faxing, they wanted to introduce another layer where they can use VGM or whatever method to take the images instead of the fax system. They will take it via internet and all that. That was why they had that challenges. And it was just needless.
Okay.
That one was needless because the results by then had already been declared at the collation centers. And so you had a pink sheet. So that's why they said, okay, well, if we are finding it difficult in transmitting it that way, why not just resort to our manual thing that we used to do? Let's put the papers together. And then we are good to go. And that's how they managed to declare Nanado. Run down to 2020. Clearly, we've been doing that. We've been using the manual system. Now, the level at which we introduce electronics is when we are doing registration exercise. And during the registration exercise, I was happy my good brother mentioned the redundancy issue. We told the Electoral Commission very well that you are using one dedicated network from MTN. Okay, now anytime you have problem with that one, then your whole system breaks down. Why don't you have a redundancy fallback? So that in an event you have problem with MTN, then you fall back to the other network to help you continue your online registration. That was a challenge there. And up to now, they are still doing that. That is why you have these network breakages anytime they're having.
So they're still using one
They're
line.
still using the same one thing. Even when we did the 3 days mop-up, the same challenge they had. Meanwhile, we pre-warned them that, look, this thing you are doing, they say, oh, there's not going to be a problem. But when we started the 3-day mop-up, you saw the challenges again. So clearly, our electoral system is robust in the manual form. That it doesn't, no interference whatsoever in terms of these international bodies that can interfere through network challenges and all that. We don't do it. What we do is that we come to the polling station, you are given a ballot paper, you thumbprint, and the box is there, you put it in there. And by 5 o'clock, we pour it on the table like all of us
And then we
sitting here.
count.
And we count there. As soon as we count, we should feel it. Our challenge here, the only difficulty we have
That from the NDC
is the human beings who do the counting.
Okay.
Because we have come to realize that our electoral system can only be manipulated using the Stalin method. You know the Stalin? Joseph Stalin of Russia. When he stated in the 1924, when he came there after the Bolshevik Revolution, you remember they were asking for proper participation. The people wanted elections. That let's vote. This time we are not going to allow the people to be chosen by the military hierarchy. He said, fine, no problem. Those who vote decide nothing. But those who count decide everything. That is the method we are having now. You will go and vote, all right. But somebody is going to do what? To do the counting. And so you voting might not decide anything. But the one who is actually coming to do the counting, that 1, 2, 3, you saw the Ejisu episode. Somebody was counting from 38, he jumped to 40. And so if your officer is there and you don't stop him, my friend, from 38, you are moving to 39. He will jump to 40. He has already rigged the election by how many votes?
So that is your main challenge.
That is our main challenge. Our main challenge, our network issue of cyber terrorism, it has nothing to do with our election.
Okay. And how do we address it then?
The only thing we can address is to build confidence in our system by the personalities who are handling our electoral system.
Okay.
One, how are we building the confidence? It's about the register. That is where the problem is. Because we use the electronics and all that to gather the data to put the register together. As we speak now, they haven't given the register. I'm told we are coming to that. That is where the problem is. As soon as we get the register set, and political parties are given the register, all this networking is for internal, political parties' internal business. Whether you go, you transmit your resource by network or you transmit your resource by manually. That's your cup of tea. Electoral Commission doesn't do electronic transmission. So nobody can hijack or hack their results anywhere.
Okay.
Because how do you hack pink sheet? How are you going to hack it?
So for you, it's at the polling station.
It's at the polling station. So if the pink sheet is given to you, and you are going to carry the pink sheet from the polling station to the collation center, you are going to use a motorbike, or you are going to use a car and drive and send it physically to the returning officer at the collation center. How are you hacking that result? The only hacking is physical hacking. Bring the pink sheet and I'll give you money so that it doesn't get to the collation center. I've hacked it like that.
Okay.
But we don't have network problem where the result is going to be transmitted via any satellite or anything. And
so we just have to look at the integrity of the people manning it.
The integrity of the people manning the election is the problem.
Okay. All right.
That is just the problem we have in Ghana. As soon as we get it right, get the people right, let them know that, my brother, you are paid to do this job. And the democracy of Ghana is on your head. Don't go there. Somebody has scored 100 and you go and write it 10 for him. Another person has scored 50 and you write 5 instead of the 50. You are the cause of the problem if there's an issue, because the pink sheet is the primary source of the result. So when they count like that, and the problem, I mentioned it the other time at IPAC, and I was telling them, look, we shouldn't be saying that the total figures are okay, so the distribution we can manage it. We are not interested in the total figures. We are interested in the distribution on the pink sheet.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. My brother here, the two of us will be contesting the election. And then they've counted his votes at the end of the polls. He has gotten 100. They've counted mine. I've gotten 50. Now it is now time for them to translate it onto the paper. We are all standing there. Then whilst my brother, his people are jubilating because he has won, he has 100. On the pink sheet, they have written his vote 50 and written my 100. My agent didn't look at the distribution because he's interested in the 150.
Yeah.
Because the total votes there becomes what? 150. Is that not true?
Yeah.
So he looked at the 150 and quickly signed.
Yeah.
And his agent also signed. So when it gets to the collation center, do you know the person they are going to declare? They will declare me winner. He will lose.
He will lose. Okay.
And that case, the internet that has changed. It's a human internet, human being who has done it.
Doc, so you agree on that leg, that really our challenge is not about the internet in court, but it's about the integrity of the people who are manning it at the polling stations.
I mean, he's giving the practical explanation of how the electoral process itself takes place. Manual transmission, manual voting. So it takes out that cyber operation of things. But if you look at electoral interference, it's two parts. Information operations, cyber operations, right? If someone can actually skew public opinion, and this is what happened in the Cambridge Analytica, right? And these are some of the concerns that I've also circled back in with some of the countries that I've mentioned earlier. So if you are looking at it purely from, just the cyber operations with the electoral system, there's no technology there. So I 100% would agree with him.
Okay.
But then if you look at the information operations, then that's something that he should even be worried about. How does his voters online who are on social media, how do they perceive his candidate? Are they consuming the right information about the candidate?
Okay.
Once you start to pick up some of these signals, you need to know that something is amiss.
And do we have the legal frameworks in Ghana to deal with some of these interferences?
Yes, right now we have a number of them. I mean, under our Electronic Transactions Act, we have a number of cybercrime laws which deals with unauthorized access, manipulation of information and all that. And then under our Cybersecurity Act too, we have provisions that deals with critical information infrastructure.
And they're effective enough?
Legally, they are effective. But when it comes to the law, enforcement is another thing. In fact, sometimes you need technology to enforce technology. So those are some of the ground challenges. But legally, we have the frameworks, and if we leverage on our international relationships and international partnerships when it comes to dealing with some of these cybercrime or cyber warfare issues, we might be able to get to the root of some of these things if they do happen.
Okay, interesting. Dr. Computer, let me bring you in again. You were talking about the voter register.
Yes. Clearly, you see, I agree with my brother here in the sense that the Electoral Commission, they need assistance. Their IT department is completely dead.
Really?
Oh, completely. It has broken down as we speak now. I'm telling you.
Aren't you saying this because of your suspicion that you have?
I am saying that you can see my outfit today. You can see that I'm wearing black.
I can see it.
Because our democracy is in black as of now. Do you know that as we speak now, they don't have a provisional register? We are left with 4 days to go for exhibition. The IT department is finding it difficult to produce a register for us. This is the IT department we are talking of. You remember we talked about UNDP giving them assistance. Because that IT department is there's a serious challenge in that department.
The UNDP has always assisted the Electoral Commission to
that is why we called on them to do that in 2012. The MPP called on the UNDP to make sure that they look at the register before we go and vote, after the biometric. And this assistance was granted, and Afarijan acceded to it. And we all agreed and went into it. This time, we have seen that consistently there's a serious problem with the IT Department of Electoral Commission. Look at the 2023 registration exercise and this assembly election. People went to vote, they didn't see their names in the register. You're holding ID card. You voted in 2020. Now you come to vote in 2023. The same ID card, they say your name is not in the register. It's taken out. Who did it? The IT department. How did what kind of software did they use to compile the register then that removed people's name? Almost 26,000. We intercepted an internal memo. At IPAC, I mentioned it and they were sure, how did I get it? I said, yes, I intercepted it. An internal memo they wrote to all their regional directors to look for all the missing names and bring it so that they will bring it back to the register. Why are they doing that to themselves? Limited registration this year. When we started, your reporters were all over the place. They were churning out wrong figures.
But they came out to correct those.
If we hadn't pointed out those wrong figures, we would have corrected them.
You are a player in the process.
Yes, and I'm saying that is the problem. You are paid to do a job. Then you see that what kind of quality assurance that goes into Electoral Commission? Who is looking at the figures? Who is analyzing their data before it comes out? As I sit in our department, before my boss or Maneboama comes out with something, if you give him something, he doesn't just pick it and go and throw it out on his Facebook. He does a lot of quality assurance before he satisfies himself that he will. What kind of quality assurance goes in the Electoral Commission? That 3 types of figures they brought out were all wrong figures. Wrong figures. And we have huge commissioners sitting there with directors and their departments there. You see, Ghana, we have been taking this kind of mediocre kind of issue for a very long time. When they did that, we queried them about it. Did you hear what he said? My brother, you are into IT deep in it. Coral Draw. Can you use Coral Draw to add figures?
No, not at all.
That they mentioned Coral
Didn't
Draw.
you hear it? When you know in Ghana press conference, Jim Mensah addressed it, press conference, told the whole world that they were using Coral Draw. That's why they had those mistakes. Coral Draw.
I didn't hear that, to be frank with you.
Go and Google it right now. Jim Mensah press conference on wrong figures and this, and you will see Coral Draw there. We asked them, we told them. At IPAC, we say, how can you use Coral? Coral Draw is a design software. In fact, these days, nobody even uses it. It's an old type of software. And yet, the IT Department of Electoral Commission were using Coral Draw to model bar chart and pie charts for them. Who told you even Excel cannot give you those kind of things? That is the directorate we are talking of. And they told us that they were going to give us a provisional register. My brother, as of there's an 18th July of this year, they asked us to bring 2 terabytes of external drive for them to load the register for us. We sent it. We sent the 2 terabytes to them. 8th August, they wrote back to us that they were not ready to give us the register because it wasn't ready. We should hold on and come back on the 14th of August for the register.
Okay.
14th of August, we're in their office for our terabyte. Give it back to us. We are ready. They said it wasn't ready. We should hold on. They will give it to us on Friday, 16th. 4 days to exhibition exercise. Exhibition start on the 20th. Today, by 9 a.m., we're in their office. They were doing this.
Okay.
The register is not ready.
Okay.
We should still hold on. As we speak now, they have not given us a register.
So let's get some answers for you. We have been joined on the phone lines by Dr. Siribo Kweku, who is Director of IT at the EC. Doc, grateful to you for joining us here. Why is the electoral register not ready? Doc, I'm trying to find out from you why the register is not ready.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now. Did you hear my question? I'm trying to find out from you why the register is not ready, which the political parties are complaining that we are just some few days away to the voter exhibition, but the register itself that we have to go and exhibit to check whether or not my details are right or wrong, that is not ready.
Thank you very much. You know, initially when we were doing our programs, we did not factor the mop-up into the program. So later when the demand came that we have to do mop-up, then the schedule has to change. And if you look at the program timetable we gave them, we indicated that the dates are subject to change depending on the exigencies of the time. And when we finished the mop-up on the 3rd of August this month, we have to work on the multiples, which was done yesterday's week. So we have to factor all those things into the preparation of the register before we can issue them out. And whatever we are going to give them will be a complete one. So I just talked to them and they are doing the uploading onto the external drive. So once it is ready, we'll get them. I believe by this weekend they should have it.
But did you say you didn't anticipate this?
No, we did not plan for mop-up.
Why didn't you plan for mop-up?
No, because we thought that by the May 29th, we have finished the registration, but we are receiving a lot of applications for inclusion from Ghanaians who have returned to the country. So we decided, okay, some Ghanaians who have turned 18, so let's consider them too. So that's what happened.
Was this plan discussed at the IPAC?
Yes, they know. Yes, we did it with them.
And they knew that you didn't add the mop-up to the plan?
So we gave them the timetable, so they have the timetable. They can show it to you. The program didn't include mop-up.
Okay. So it is the mop-up that has caused a delay in the releasing the register?
Exactly so. Because the registration that was concluded on the 29th of May, and the mop-up was concluded on the 3rd of August, just this month. So
when is the register going to be ready? You mentioned that you...
this weekend it should be ready. This weekend.
So by Sunday it will be ready?
I pray so.
You pray so cannot really be it.
No, that is our plan. It should be.
When is the voter exhibition?
Exhibition is on Tuesday.
Per the regulations we have, when should political parties have access to the register itself before the exhibition starts?
The law did not indicate. It is the final register that gives the deadline, but the mop-up. It only said that when we finish with the compilation, that is between the registration, within 3 months, we should compile the provisional register, and when we compile, we should give copy to the political party.
Okay. But there's been concerns about, how robust our electoral system is in preparation for the 2024 election. Because of the challenges that we've had in the past where the EC was telling us some wrong figures of a sort. So how robust is the system now? How can we even trust the robustness of the system?
We didn't turn out wrong results. What happened was that we have the data correct, but when we were trying to upload onto the system and we threw infographics, that's where the copy and paste made a mistake on that. But it's not the data itself. There was no problem with the data.
So you can rest assured the parties that our system is robust for the election ahead.
So I believe they themselves they are aware because we did all the education process. We involved the political parties. So they were part of the decision as far as the education was concerned.
What about international interference in our system? Are we prepared? Interference from outside in our electoral system? Is our system robust to ward off
robust antivirus and other issues? So for now, we have never had any challenge because our system is well protected. So I don't think we have an issue with that. But that is, it with the exception of the register. And even that the register is not, it is not open to online. It's within our own system, not. So I don't know how anybody can access them, but we have them. Necessary security measures in place. But for the election itself, we don't use any internet, so that one's not a problem.
Okay, okay. The NDC said same that because it's not really, based on internet, we won't have a problem. But they had issues with the integrity of the people who will be manning the polling centers. That's where the issue is.
I think that if they have genuine concern about issues, they have to write officially to protest and to investigate. Because for the temporary staff, we give them copy for them to protest. But if they have any challenge with any permanent staff, that is thing will not be the interest of the country. They can petition and the commission will look at it.
Okay, you've heard Dr. Srebo. He's provided answers to your questions. This is happening because they didn't anticipate the mop-up, and you are aware.
No,
that you political parties were aware that the mop-up was not part of the plan.
You see, my good friend, Dr. Srebo, is my friend. We share things in common at IPAC. You see, these are the things they do, and we have problems with them.
What things?
When they wrote the letter to us on the 18th of July, didn't they know that we were going to have mop-up?
No, the original plan that you had.
They
said it was discussed at IPAC.
I am saying that the original plan of their calendar, we discussed it. We came together and we all knew of the mop-up. We all knew of the mop-up.
Was it part of the plan?
Yes, it was part of it.
It was on.
It was on. And I'm saying that at the time they wrote to us that we should bring the 2 terabytes, they knew that they were going to have a mop-up. And they were giving us the first register, the limited, the first one they did, the one that ended 29th May. They were very clear in their mind that they were giving us that register before the mop-up. The mop-up was just 3 days. And it was online. So if you are doing an online registration, do you need to, another days, my brother is here, tell him, the IT people, I've been a lecturer in IT for a very long time. When I'm doing an online processes, how many minutes do you need to migrate a data that I'm doing online to the main one? Do I need 1 week to do that? People are paid heavily, and they need 1 week to do this kind of migration. And then even when we went for the adjudication, yes, I'm a member of the adjudication committee. But the last one I couldn't attend because I was somewhere. My brother represented me there, my other colleague. He asked them the question. You asked us to come for adjudication. What kind of adjudication are we coming to do? When we did online registration. Because when you are doing online registration, it can easily arrest somebody who is coming to do multiple registration. Because as soon as you put your finger on the biometric system, it will tell you that you already registered. Is that not true?
Yeah.
How come you had people who have managed to bypass that system and you are calling it for adjudication? I took them time to explain this thing. So later on, we heard that they did some small offline. And I said, they couldn't have done offline because at the time I was in Central Region, Asebu, Kwamankesi, I called them and told them, your people are not working because there was a network challenge. For 2 hours, they were sitting there doing nothing. So which time were they doing the offline?
Okay.
So clearly, you see, my brothers at the Electoral Commission, they must sit up.
Okay.
Because this thing that they are doing, you heard him about the register.
He says you get it by weekend. It will be ready.
Tuesday is the exhibition, right?
Yes.
When I said they refused to give, my boss put it out that they refused to give her the register. As for now, they are not ready with registers. People thought we were joking. Now you have heard it from the horse's own mouth. What is the duty of that IT department? I think by now, heads should have started rolling from that place. Because who is putting the data together?
All right.
That's the bigger question there.
That you should be asking. Well, let's see how it goes. But, Doc, I'll give you the last bite. You've listened. Is there anything we need to do ahead before the election come December 7th?
I mean, clearly the electoral process is in bits and pieces, discussing registration and backroom issues with technology, and, we are talking about the manual system and how that's going to go. I think generally we should just sit down and have a proper electoral, a structured policy on how we control our elections from the project management point of view and also from the technology point of view. Because this issue about mop-up, afterthought, I didn't find it convincing.
Seriously.
Okay. That's Desmond Israel, who is a technology lawyer and data privacy security practitioner. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC.
2 seconds. You see, we are telling them, the EC, they don't want us to have problems with them. They should give us a register.
He says you get it.
I'm saying that they should give us a register. They shouldn't give us the register 24 hours to the exhibition. Otherwise, they risk a massive demonstration they've never seen before in this country.
Really?
At the EC, seriously.
So they've told you to get it by weekend. Are you still going ahead with that demonstration?
No. We are going there. We are going to request for it because they told us we should come today.
Okay.
And we are going back there to see. We need the register. We didn't put a dagger on their throat to tell us that come for the register on this day.
Okay.
They can't continue to be shifting goalposts like this.
Okay. All right.
As we speak now, okay, we are in a limbo. There's no register. They are telling us that, okay, you hold on, when this is ready. And my good brother is saying that these weekends.
Okay.
What is the meaning of that? And I was happy the way you push him and said, give us timelines. We are saying weekends. Which weekends? Don't be surprised Sunday, they will tell you Monday. You come on Monday.
All right.
These people, they don't have register.
Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay with us here on The Pulse. Well, welcome back from the break. Let's take you to the Volta Region, where the NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, says the party has not taken a definite decision on whether it will sign a peace pact ahead of the December elections or not, responding to a question during a media interaction about a comment made by NDC National Chairman Johnson Asiodun Ketia that signing a peace declaration doesn't mean anything to the party, as previous pacts have not yielded any real results. He said he understands where the party chairman is coming from because peace pacts go beyond mere signing. Let's take you to the Volta Region now, where my colleague Maxwell Agbagba is standing by from where John Mahama is addressing a gathering. Maxwell, what's happening there? And give us a wrap or an update on whatever is happening at where you are.
Well, this is the last but 2 places where the NDC flag bearer will be visiting before wrapping up his tour of the Volta region. He's here specifically at the annual Hogbe Park, where he's been addressing NDC party supporters, the Nians, and you can see on the right-hand side are traditional leaders, the clergy, also gathered here to listen to his message. Key amongst what he's been doing in the past 5 minutes, he's been recounting what he describes as lies by the NPP government, listing them one after the other, and saying in the other language that Alapa, which means lies, getting the crowd here, sharing him anytime he speaks the language, the other, which is the language that is predominantly spoken here. Key amongst the things he's been talking about also is the 24-hour economy, which he says would provide jobs, and more jobs to the people. He has also been talking about the National Apprenticeship Program that he says would also equip persons who are unable to go to universities or colleges with skills which they can use, which they can earn a living, through that. He's addressing the crowd now, and we can listen to what he's been saying.
They took it. But when it came to voting, they voted for their MP to remain as their MP. And they are there, nothing has happened to them, no paying. And so when they bring it, take the money. But when you go, remember your 8 years of poverty. Remember your 8 years of hunger. We will say only what we can do. We went to Toby's place. He's giving us a list of what he thinks are the critical things the people need. This time we're going to do infrastructure, but we're going to invest more in providing jobs for our young people. And that's why we're bringing the 24-hour economy policy. And the formula for the 24-hour economy policy is 1-3-3. It means 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. 1-3-3, 24-hour economy. And so all the businesses, the salt factories, the pharmaceutical factories, the agro-processing factories, the textile manufacturers, we're going to let them work longer hours so that they can take more people, employ more of our young people. We're going to employ more of our young people into the security services so that we can create a safe environment for everybody to do business. And this time we're not going to secretly recruit people. We will come round the regions and recruit so that every part of the country can be properly represented amongst our security services.
So that's the former President John Dramani Mahama addressing a gathering in Aloga there. Away from that, a severe drought spell is threatening food security in the northern and savannah regions, destroying many farms and the livelihoods of families. The prolonged lack of rain has left farms parched and crops withered. As farmers struggle to salvage their dwindling harvest, the impact is already impacting negatively on food availability and prices. Martina Bugri has captured the situation in the northern region in the following report.
Farmers in the northern region are counting their losses already following the dry spell that has hit the area. Farmers who plowed earlier around July have had to uproot their maize, waiting to replant or watch their plants wither. The situation has affected especially smallholder farmers.
It's been over a month since the last rain in the northern region. Right behind me is a maize farm. To my right is an okra farm. The plants here are withering. They haven't had rains, therefore they're drying up. This has been the state in the northern region. Several acres of farmlands are drying up because there are no rains.
Jesli Namasi is a smallholder farmer. He spends about $7,000 on his 5-acre farm, but fears there will be nothing to harvest.
It really is pathetic because after the tractor came to plow and I put the condemn, then I saw just a slight rain came and the maize started germinating, and since then we didn't receive any rain anymore. It's more than 1 month now than we have sown, and since then we haven't seen anything. And even if it rains now, the way they will grow, it will not be as if they had received rain earlier.
So Mr. Gislin is just showing me his okra farm. Each year he harvests the okra, sells to the public and feed his family. It doesn't look like he's going to get any harvest this year.
The Muslim community in the northern region last week held prayers to appeal to God for God's intervention. But what do experts think about the occurrence? Climate change expert and lecturer at the Tamale Technical University, Smith Wayo Mahama, explains what the region is currently witnessing. He says if the rains come, they may not be enough for crops to yield, leading to food insecurity.
There are changes in the atmospheric circulation patterns, which is leading to a stalling of storm tracks. And this stall of storm tracks occur when the patterns or when the path of storms driven by jet streams become stationary or slow in movement. And the consequence are things such as drought or heat waves. So for the past month or two now, the absence of rain in the city of Tamale and its environs could be tied or associated to this issue of changes in atmospheric circulation patterns. The point remains that there might be a likelihood of rains, very late rains, except to say that the quantity of rains we would be expecting wouldn't be much. The reason being that the raining season is almost ending, like you rightly said. So we stand to face a challenge of food shortage or insecurity somewhere next year.
The climate change expert called for measures to mitigate the situation.
I personally believe that God can cause rains, but what we are seeing is the effect of our actions and inactions on the environment, i.e., deforestation, industrialization, population growth leading to issues such as urbanization, our transport system. All these emit gases, green gases, into the atmosphere. So in the interim, we would have to advocate for drought-tolerant crops or varieties for our farmers, just so that we are able to adapt to what is happening. Number two, diversification, where we encourage that farmers should plant different crops, just so to reduce the risk of total crop failure. And
now, the Agri Ministry has yet to comment or put in place any intervention to alleviate the situation. However, President Akufo-Addo is promising to do something about it, but failed to specify what that will do while on his visit to Bogatanga in the Upper East region.
It is important that I take the opportunity to comment on a matter of considerable importance to the peoples of the northern regions of our country. I'm aware of the impact that the unusually dry season has had on farm output. And I want to assure you the government, in the next few days, will announce measures to address the situation. I thank you for your attention.
So the president promising to do something about that situation. Joining us now for more on this is Dr. Francis Kusi-Sari, who is the Director for Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, is this a usual rainfall pattern in northern Ghana? Doc, I thank you for joining. I want to find out from you whether this is a usual rainfall pattern in the northern part of the country.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Can you please come again?
I'm trying to find out from you whether this is the usual rainfall pattern in the northern part of the country, or this is quite a deviation from the normal.
Yeah, what we experience currently is completely different from what we've been experiencing over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Our rainfall pattern, usually we experience some dry spells, but not as severe as we've seen this year.
Okay.
Usually a week to 2 weeks dry spells. For those 2 months without rain, it's not the usual rainfall pattern in northern Ghana.
Are we able to put our hands on what exactly is causing this?
Yeah, a lot of explanations have been given by the experts in that field. But we in agriculture, the usual climate change and the variation that we've been talking about, which we've been working seriously against it, try to develop research that is resilient to address its effects on our cropping system. It's what we occupy ourselves with as research scientists.
And if government has to do anything to intervene, what must it be?
Currently, what is happening, almost 2 months of the active, crop cycle months, the 4 months that we have, it's already gone. And so we need to get cowpea varieties that will do within 2 weeks, 60 days. And most of the varieties that we release as a research institution are 60 days. And so the farmers, the rains come in now, any moment from now, they can go in to plant cowpea as a way of addressing it. And that apart, those who are also closer to the dam sites and the White Volta River can also go into what we call supplementary irrigation, where they can establish crops like maize and other long season crops with the rains. And by October, November, when the rains stop, then they can then pump water to continue. By that, we will be able to get some procedures that we've lost completely on the code now. But that would mean that there should be intervention by the government supplying the farmer with some pumping machine. For the White Volta Region, we've never seen it dry. Always contain enough water. As we complain of drought now, Burkina Faso, they are receiving a lot of rains. And it's evidence in our district bordering Burkina Faso. You go to Boku area, Kunu, and other places, they are getting very good rains. And that impacts on the flow of water in the White Volta River. And for that matter, that can also be a window where we can put in some intervention to get some of the farmers close by to go into serious farming. Another thing that we need to do is to support the regions that are also receiving good rains now to maximize their productivity. Pick up all the technologies that are required to increase their productivity so that they can also, turn out something that can also, address the situation that we're going to have from northern regions and other parts of the country that are currently suffering from the drought.
But the CSIR should possibly have seats that are drought resistant, don't you?
They are there. When you take crops like maize, drought tolerance is a must-have trait. When I say must-have trait, is that it forms the fundamentals of the traits that we build on. And so now all the maize varieties that we have, sort of Wandata, Sansansma, Behefa, Opomasan, and the rest, they are all drought tolerant. But the drought tolerance we're talking about is not the type of drought that we're experiencing. Talking about their ability to withstand terminal drought. For instance, you get good rain, and by September ending the rain stop, where the plant will need some few weeks of rains for it to mature. These varieties will be able to give you something good. Irrespective of the terminal drought. Or the dry spell that's last for 2 weeks or 2 months.
All right.
But not just severe drought.
I'm grateful to you, Dr. Francis Kusi, for joining us here on the pause. Now, away from that, the Ministry of Public Enterprises is set to release a public enterprises league table to track non-performing state entities. The performance of state-owned enterprises over the years have been a major concern, with many recording losses annually. However, the minister in charge of public enterprises, Joseph Kujo, expressed confidence that the league table will build competition among the state-owned enterprises and also expose non-performing ones. He spoke at a media encounter in Accra.
I have always said, as soon as you put people in competition to do anything, you get the best out of them. Whether it's a football team, whether it's students going to write examination, you can think of examples yourself. Anytime you put humans in the context of competition, performance gets enhanced. So this innovation I brought about, called the Public Enterprises League Table. We put the enterprises together and rank them from governance issues to management issues to profitability issues, use of technology in their operations, digitalization, whether you are becoming modern or AD, we will say AD11 company. The first belt has been done. We had 54 companies having the requisite information to be ranked. Sorry, 50 the first belt. And then the second belt ranked 64. Third belt will be done in September as scheduled. And fourth belt will be done in September. We'll put 2 league tables together for publication. So we're putting the 2 together and publish it at a go. So we'll see 2022 PELT ranking of the enterprise and their performance, and we'll also see 2023 PELT, that is their ranking and performance, published at a go. And then we'll be able to know which companies have improved in performance, which of them have lagged in performance, and then the necessary strategy put in place to assess.
Now, the minister also charged Ghanaians to show interest in non-performing state institutions to revive them.
In a message to the general public and the media present here and everybody listening, you and I, our taxes, so far as the president is concerned, your taxes should be managed well. Your taxes get invested in state enterprises. If they report profits, your taxes invested is growing. If they report losses, it's not a pleasant outcome so far as President Nana Akufo-Addo is concerned. So, signing performance contract for SIGA to monitor your performance is so critical. So, I leave a message that the media and the public should be interested in the companies that are not signing performance contracts and be asking questions. Why are you not signing performance contracts? Recently, the president even made a declaration, charged them to sign performance contract. It improved the outcome, but we should be interested. We shouldn't overly be interested in a ECG. 1, overly be interested in a cocoa board. 2, overly be interested in a PBC. 3, out of 175. Let's be interested in all of them. Because the president is interested in all of them, being transparent, preparing accounts, signing performance contract, and your scrutiny and your questions will help him, will help me, will help Director General John Bwedu for us to achieve coverage of all of the 175 so that our tax revenues will be accounted.
Joseph Kujo is MP for Public Enterprises. Now, Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana in charge of research and innovation, Professor Felix Ankuma-Asante, says he is worried about the vast gap between academic research and national policy, lamenting the phenomenon where groundbreaking academic research findings are left to rot on the shelves. He emphasized the urgent need for national policies to be backed by research. He wants a dedicated institution to ensure the transition of academic research funding to influence national policies. He spoke at the maiden pen ceremony for 4 newly appointed associate professors of the College of Education at the University of Ghana.
The event, first of its kind in the university, saw in attendance professors and stakeholders in the academic space. The Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, in charge of research and innovation, Professor Felix Ankuma-Asante, underscored the need for academic research to inspire national policy.
Certainly, I'm worried that our research work on the shelf. But you see, doing the research is one thing, moving it into policy is also another. We need that interface. Now that they're almost at the peak of academia, we encourage them to do more policy-oriented research so that they can influence the developmental needs of the country.
The maiden pen ceremony celebrated the academic achievements of 4 newly promoted associate professors of the College of Education. The 4 include Professor Isaac Kofi Baini, Professor Inusa Salifu, Professor Abnaya Benin, and Professor Bwedi Ajekum. Professor Ankuma believes the ceremony will inspire the younger generation to aspire to higher grounds in academics.
What we are celebrating this evening are colleagues who will be promoted to associate professor. In academia, the ultimate is being a full professor, and associate professor is one step to that. So what we are doing is to showcase them so that they'll be able to mentor the younger generation. The mentorship is through students and also junior faculty members.
One of the newly promoted professors, Abna Yabua Benin, asked government to make available funding for research in the country, as research funded by foreign donors are only focused on what the founding agency wants.
A lot of the research that we're producing now
is actually funded by external bodies, and sometimes the interest of those bodies determine how we have to tailor the research that we want to do. But if, as a country, we have a fund that supports research by scholars within the universities, etc., then we would be able to be more minded to do tailor-made research that directly addresses problems that we have here. At the moment, it's a bit of you do what meets the donors' expectations in terms of the program areas, and you try and see what out of that research can benefit Ghana.
The new associate professors were handed pens, a symbol for their academic achievements, and laptops to aid their future researchers.
Away from that, the Kintampo Municipal Hospital is grappling with a severe shortage of essential medical equipment and supplies, hindering the delivery of quality healthcare. Medical Superintendent at the hospital, Dr. Anthony Chum, is making an appeal to government for urgent support, emphasizing the hospital's crucial role in treating major accident victims along the Techiman-Tamale Highway. And Asabit has more in this report.
The Kintampo Municipal Hospital is the only major government health facility along the Techiman-Kintampo Highway. Its emergency ward has over the years been one of the busiest in the mid-zone, mainly due to the many gory accidents recorded along the stretch. The facility, which records over 2,500 accident emergency cases on average, is being bedeviled with several infrastructural challenges. Medical Superintendent at the facility, Dr. Anthony Chum, says the lack of infrastructure coupled with inadequate staff is affecting general health care in the area.
Kintampo Municipal Hospital is one of the biggest health facilities in terms of the size and then the population that's our catchment area. And indeed, our emergency is one of the busiest emergencies that we have, largely because of the location. We are on the N10 highway, which is a transit area between Kumasi and then Tamale. So as a result of that, we have a lot of accident cases happening on the road, and then most of these accidents end up at our emergencies.
Even though the facility is being flooded with mass casualties, the absence of certain vital equipment, including a CT scan, means the facility is unable to attend to accident patients with severe head injuries.
In terms of management of mass casualty incidents, we are challenged because one, the space is small. Two, the human resource to manage all these patients. We don't have specialist emergency physicians. We don't have specialist nurses in emergency care who are able to adequately provide the services that is required. Again, most of these patients will come in with trauma cases that will require CT scan, and we don't have that facility at our end here. So patients who come in with very severe head injuries, we are unable to manage them. We have to refer them to the next level for them to be able to undergo other specialized investigations like CT scan, MRI, before we are able to determine what is happening to them.
Dr. Anthony Chum says even though the facility is being faced with several challenges, authorities in the area are doing their possible best to manage the situation and appeal to government and the general public to come to their aid.
We are doing our best as a facility. Last year, for instance, we had mass casualty incidents where over 100 patients came to the facility. Even though we lost about 20 of them, but we were able to manage quite a number of them. So within the limited capacity, we are doing our best for the region. But I think that with support, we'll be able to do more for the region.
Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
Now, residents in Old Tetegu near Weja say they are ready to go on several demonstrations over the deplorable state of roads in their community. Taxi drivers in particular say they are the worst affected as the state of the roads are negatively impacting their work. The residents say the government has neglected them. My colleague Vanessa Okoronko has more in this report. Right to you.
Old Tetegu is a community near Weja with thousands of residents. The roads within this community is next to being unmotorable. Road users have to slow down to meander their way through patches and huge craters in the middle of what is expected to be a road. George Eligo, who's lived in this community for over 30 years, is worried about the current state of the road. He wonders when authorities will heed to their request to get the roads fixed.
The condition of this road is very bad, so we are even pleading for the government to come to our assistance, to assist us so that we can have a good road. Especially when it rains, the road became very, very muddy, so you cannot even walk unless you put on a rain boot or you take a taxi or you take a motor before you can pass the road. Without that, you cannot use the road.
So have you reported any of these road issues to local authorities?
The government is aware of all these things, especially the municipal assembly. They are aware. If they came here just to inspect, to see whether they can do anything about it, but up to now, nothing has been done. Even we don't even gutter.
A taxi driver who's also lived in Tetegu for over 15 years voiced his frustration.
At least every day, unless I have a problem in my car. Yeah, we have more problems because the road condition is not good. It's not helping us. At least every week we go to shop, we buy shops, we buy absorbers, and the road is not good, it's not helping us.
Other residents, equally unhappy about the situation, are demanding immediate solution from authorities. They do not want promises anymore. They want action.
The only thing we have to do is we will go to demonstration.
Demonstration?
Yeah, as if you go to demonstration and from the top they will hear us. Because our people here, we talk, they don't mind. So I think the demonstration will be better.
To the Okada boys, always an accident on this. Because the road yourself, you can see the road service is not even good. And they will come and fix it, Up to now, I've not even heard any concern about what we have even said. So always they have been giving us dates.
Because the driver wants to dodge the potholes, so sometimes it causes accidents and it really hurts us. You have to apply brakes so that the passenger or someone will pass the road. So it's really hurting us a lot. So we really need help too.
Some residents of Old Tetegu say if their concerns are not immediately addressed, they will have to resort to demonstrations to better drum home their demands. Vanessa Onyinichi Okoronko's report read to you.
That was a beautifully done mobile journalism there, shot with a mobile phone. So kudos to Okoronko there. Now, the German government has said there is a high threat of Islamist terrorism in the country. In particular, authorities are concerned about several groups seeking to radicalize recruits amid turmoil in the Middle East. The assessment by the German government comes after a forward terror plot in neighboring Austria led to the cancellation of 3 concerts by U.S. pop star Taylor Swift. DW's Thomas Sparrow joins us from Berlin with more on this. Thomas, what concrete details did the government reveal about groups and possible attacks?
Well, essentially, they're not speaking a lot about concrete details. That is in the nature of their investigations, but they have stressed, German authorities, that the risk here in Germany remains abstractly high. What this essentially means is that they are, at least publicly, not looking into specific concrete threats, but they're rather investigating trends and developments that could develop into specific plans. And what they stressed is that the threat remains high, coming both from organizations that are basically tapping into the whole controversy in the Middle East, but also from people here in the country that are radicalizing themselves online. So essentially, authorities are stressing that they're looking at a diverse situation where they're focusing on both the organizations, but also the possible perpetrators, and obviously working hand in hand with other countries around the world. It's also important to stress that in the last few months, authorities were particularly interested in focusing on both the football European tournament here in Germany and the Olympics in Paris. And they did specifically stress that in both cases, everything went out according to plan. So no specific threats there, but that the issue overall, the threat overall, remains still abstractly high.
Okay. What is government doing about this? What it is doing to tackle this issue?
If they're focusing specifically on the organizations, they're looking both at the structure of the organizations here in Germany or in other European countries. So if, for example, they're focusing on the so-called Islamic State. They're looking at how the Islamic State could then have specific structures here in Germany, trying to dismantle them. They're also specifically looking at how to focus on propaganda coming from these organizations. And at the same time, obviously, one of the main areas of focus, not only now, but also in recent years, is this issue of radicalization online. So it's there where the German Interior Minister, but also, for example, the Domestic Intelligence Agency are focusing specifically on how to combat possible radicalization online. And at the same time, they're focusing on cooperation with some of the neighboring countries, because there is a clear understanding here in Germany that the threat posed by Islamist terror is not one that is only unique to Germany.
Well, Thomas, to what extent are these comments related to the recent Ford attack that led to the cancellation of Taylor Swift's concert in neighboring Austria? Are German and Austrian authorities in contact?
They are indeed in contact. They have been in contact for a long time, and that relates to this understanding that I have just mentioned, that they need to cooperate when it comes to intelligence gathering, to intelligence sharing, when it comes to trying to find possible plots and foil them. So the fact that this plot in Vienna was foiled, which led to the cancellation of those Taylor Swift concerts, was something that German authorities were following very carefully. And as a result, it's that debate here in the country about the threat being also high in Germany, also abstractly high. So it's not a very specific threat like the one that Austrian authorities found in Vienna, but it is an abstract threat. And that's why German and Austrian authorities, neighboring countries, have been working closely together. There is also, by the way, an understanding that when it comes to finding possible plots, to finding possible developments that could lead to a plot, it is necessary for intelligence agencies to work across borders. That essentially means, in practical terms, that if, for example, German authorities, the German intelligence service, finds a specific piece of information that could be relevant not only for Germany, but for Austria, for Switzerland, for any European country, that's quickly shared so that ultimately the threat can be foiled as quickly as possible. So it's not only a challenge for Germany, it's not only a challenge, let's say, for Germany's Domestic Intelligence Agency or for Germany's Interior Ministry, is one that is very clearly seen as an international challenge that has to be dealt with in cooperation terms when it comes to how intelligence agencies work and gather their information.
Well, Thomas Sparrow of the DW there, grateful to you for joining us with that. And that's all in our package for you today. There's more on myjoyonline.com. If you go on there right now, it says we've paid research top-up allowance for 44 colleges of education. That's according to GTEC. Also, Kwabena Donkor demands action against substandard weekend and evening master's programs. And Guru disqualified from University of Ghana SRC presidential race. Also, Mahama backs a seat in Ketia, but says no decision taken yet to boycott peace accord. Well, and that's all in our bulletin. Thank you for being a part of us. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Have a great weekend. You know what? Next week, Elton Brobe will be here. But I'm grateful that you could share your time with me. Good evening.